Hello my dear students, welcome to lesson number 21, Rensis Likert, Systems Management Theory. Objectives. After completion of this lesson, you will be able to understand Rensis Likert's life and career, to know Likert's contribution to public administration, to examine Likert's systems of management theory, and to know Likert's scale of measurement. Introduction. Rensis Likert is well known for his contribution to the human relations movement in public administration. But he goes beyond narrow disciplinary boundaries to provide practical solution to organizational problem. He is best known for his contribution to organizational theory. His close association with human relations movement and subsequent analysis of the role of democratic participation and improved performance has been a watershed movement in organizational writing. When Elton Mayo, Chris Argyris and others were working hard to humanize the most criticized scientific management, Likert was focusing on imperatives of an organization structure for involving new techniques of participatory management and democratic leadership. His contribution to a nut and bolt kind of description of administrative and management issues which increasingly perceived organizational structure as engineering concerns brought much admired acceptability to the human relations movement. Rensis Likert is referred to in public administration literature as a creator of organizations. His contribution to organizational theory was so passionate that his holistic understanding of administrative and management problem outperformed many contemporary public administration scholars. So let's know about the life and career of Rensis Likert. Rensis Likert was an American organizational psychologist, educator, and management theorist. He was born in Wyoming. He earned a BA in sociology from the University of Michigan and a PhD from Columbia University. He began his teaching career as an instructor at New York University before becoming an assistant professor in the year 1935. He taught at Sarah Lawrence College in Bronx Valley, New York, for an year. He was the head of the Division of Program Survey in the Bureau of Agriculture Economics at the United States Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C. Served as a research director for the Life Insurance Agency Management Association and as a director of the Moral Division of the United States Strategic Bombing Survey during World War II. From 1946 to 1970, he was a professor of psychology and sociology at the University of Michigan. In 1946, he established the Survey Research Center at Michigan, which later became the Director of Institution for Social Research. Rensis Likert continued his studies and consulting on management systems and styles in the variety of corporations. His major works includes New Pattern of Management, The Human Organization, and New Ways of Managing Conflict. Likert's contribution. Contribution to statistical evaluation tools of social survey and Likert scale, supervisory style, linking pin model, supportive relationship and management system. So let's see the first point, that is contribution to social survey statistical evaluation tool and Likert scale. Likert discovered that measuring social behavior and attitudes was the most difficult task of social survey. He discovered the difficulty in statistical difficulties which are encountered when everyday aspect of social behavior ordinarily handled as quantitative affair we treat from a mathematical point of view in his monograph. A technique for the measurement of attitudes. He conducted extensive research into the work of Gardiner Marpu, who was also his PhD supervisor, and other contemporary scholars such as Brain, Wheater and Watson, to discover that the understanding of personality traits and social attitudes was quite complete and well examined. He, on the other hand, developed a keen interest in statistical procedures. Thunderston developed methods to demonstrate a special correlation between scores and case histories. He made questionnaire-based survey on 3 issues, that is, internationalism, imperialism and the Negro. He discovered disparities in generalized and specific attitudes. These differences were notable due to cultural differences which necessitate the use of different scales for measuring attitudes in different cultural settings. Though such a study, Likert gave way to more knowledgeable survey techniques that the comparative administrative movement of the 1960s could have used, and it also had the potential to become a logical challenge to a new public management critic in order to strengthen modern public administration arguments, aside from the cultural differences in survey techniques. Likert established that an individual's opinion may differ from that of a group. In the year 1932, Likert created the Likert scale, which he used to determine the extent of a person's belief, attitude or feelings towards certain objectives. Likert's main contribution has been the way his 5-point scale measured opinion between strongly agree to strongly disagree. Example of Likert scale. So, I will be sharing 3 examples so that you will betterly understand what Likert scale actually means. So, I go with the first point. I think that I would like to use this product frequently. So, a rating scale of Likert starts strongly disagree as 1 to strongly agree as 5 into a rating scale. Second example, I found the product unnecessarily complex. Strongly disagree is coded as 1 and strongly agree as 5. I thought the product was easy to use. So, strongly disagree can be coded as 1 and strongly agree to be coded as 5. So, based on the reading, we determined the attitude of the human behavior. Supervisory styles. While researching, Likert discovered that there are some organizations that are efficient and others are less efficient. Observations revealed that efficient organizations were led by employee-centered leaders who focus on human needs or emotions and strive to develop individuals as efficient workers, increase the achievement, motivation of subordinates, and encourage them to accept high performance goals through group decision process by applying minimal pressure and earning their respect and trust by exercising general rather than detailed supervision, and allow the subordinates to set their own work pace and assist them when mistakes or other issues arises. On the other hand, it was discovered that less efficient organizations were managed by job-centered leaders who focus on the target or on fixing the targets, laying out the procedure to achieve the target, and impose their views on their subordinate. The first category of supervisors' top priorities are making sure that assigned tasks are completed and that established standards are maintained. They are known for applying a lot of pressure to get work done. having little faith in their employees, close monitoring the work, giving them little attitude, and being harshly critical of mistakes when they are made. As a result, it was concluded that employee-centered leaders are more efficient than job-centered leaders. Linking pin model. It is anticipated that Likert's linking pin model will eliminate the barriers present in conventional hierarchies and enable the expansion of interaction influence system. The key aspect of his model is that each member of the organization plays dual role in two overlapping groups. He is a leader of a lower level group and a member of higher level group. In this model, group activities and processes takes a much greater precedence over individual role. In sharp contrast to top-down management found in traditional organizations, they develop upward from the organizational base. Likert uses horizontal linkages to strengthen the upward orientation in the development of his model. He uses examples like line and staff department, vertical overlapping group linkages, vertical overlapping group linkages of product departments, and multiple overlapping group structures with both horizontal and vertical linkages to illustrate the point. There should be no more overlapping work group than are absolutely necessary to complete the linking process. Supportive relationships. Likert proposed his principle of supportive relationship as an organizing concept based on his evaluation of high-performing managers. To maximize the ability, resources, and motivation of people at various organizational levels, he develops an interaction influence system. Integration of making and direction would be made easier by such a system. The principle of supportive relationship would enable each member to see the mission of the organization as important and his role as difficult, important and meaningful. This principle serves the best interest of both the employees and the organization. Likert has conceived an interaction influence system to maximize skills, resources, and motivation at different levels of the organization. Such a system would facilitate integration of organizational and managerial process such as coordination, communication, and decision making. Some of the following characters can be seen in an organization that uses an ideal interaction influence system. First, the personal values, needs, and goals of employees are reflected in those of work groups and the organization as a whole. Second, to the employees' achievement, the organizational goals would be seen as complementary to achieving their own goals. Third, employees themselves, not the traditional organizational hierarchy, will place pressure on workers to perform well. Fourthly, throughout the organization, dependable and prompt communication network will be in place. Fifth, every employee will be impacted by the decision and actions of the organization. The power of ideas, not the power of position, will have a direct correlation with influences. Management system. Rensis Likert conducted a thorough investigation into the effectiveness of management and subordinates' responses to issue relating to human resources versus productive working conditions. Management that prioritizes working tasks over employees was known as employee-centered management, as opposed to management that prioritizes working tasks over employees. There is a breakdown into system and further exploration of the various management-centered personality types. According to their definition, System 1 is an exploitative authoritative system. System 2 is benevolent authoritative. System 3 consultative. And System 4 is participative group. Likert doesn't see the four systems of management as isolated categories but as a blend into one another with many intermediate patterns along the continuum. The feature of each of the four systems are explained as: System 1 is an exploitative authoritative type where fear and threats are used as management tools. Communication is downward. The psychological distance between the superior and subordinate is great, and most organizational decisions are made at the top. System 2 is a benevolent authoritative type, where rewards are used to motivate employees. Superiors are held in high regards. Information is restricted to what the bosses wants to know. Policy decisions are made at the top, though decisions made within a predetermined framework may be delegated to lower level. System 3 is a consultative type. Management uses reward, occasionally punishment, and some involvement is sought. Communication is both down and up, but upward communication other than what the boss wants to hear is limited and consciously given. Subordinates in this system have a moderate amount of influence on the activities of their departments because broad policy decisions are made at the top and more specific decisions are made at the lower level. System 4 is distinguished by participatory group management. Management provides economic rewards and fully utilizes group participation and involvement in achieving high performance goals, improving work method, and so on. Communication flows downward, upward, and with the peers and is accurate. And subordinate and supervisor are psychologically close. Decision making occurs primarily through group process throughout the organization. It is integrated into the formal structure by viewing the organization chart as a series of overlapping groups, each linked to the rest of the organization by person, who are members of more than one group. System 4 management results in high productivity, increased individual involvement, and better labor management relations. High producing managers in general are those who are developed the personnels in their unit into effective group with cooperative attitudes and a higher level of job satisfaction through System 4 management. They are, however, exceptions. High productivity can be achieved with technical, competent, job-centered and tough management. Members of units whose supervisors uses these high pressure methods, on the other hand, are more likely to have negative attitudes towards their work and management, as well as excessive waste and scrap. They also have higher labor turnovers and more labor management conflict, as evidenced by the work stoppages, official grievances, and other indicators. Management, according to Likert, is always a relative process. To be effective and communicate effectively, leaders must always adapt their behavior to the people they lead. There are no specific rules that will work in all situations. Only general principles that must be interpreted to taken into account the exceptions, values and skills of those with whom the manager interacts. Sensitivity to these values and exceptions is a critical leadership skill, and organizations must create an atmosphere and condition that encourage all managers to deal with the people they encounter in accordance with their value and expectations. Management now has a number of relevant factor measures developed by social scientists to help with this task. They are methods of obtaining objective measurements of variables such as the degree of member loyalty to an organization, the extent to which the goals of groups and individuals facilitate the achievement of organizational goal, the motivation level among members, the level of confidence and trust between different hierarchical levels and between various sublevels, the efficiency and adequacy of the communication process. These and other measures allow an organization to always be aware of the condition of the interaction influence system, the network of working humans that support it, and to know what needs to be done to make the desired improvement. This unbiased knowledge of the interaction influence system allows management and leadership issues to be depersonalized and the authority of facts to take center stage. In this manner, the appropriate course of action will be determined by the law of the situation. Unlike in the past, when impression and judgment have to do, human behavior can now be measured and made objectively across a much wider range. Criticisms. The interaction influence system of the kind envisaged by Likert is said to be far cry in the traditional hierarchical bureaucratic organization. The linking pin concept is also criticized as doing nothing more than drawing triangles around the traditional hierarchical structure. It also slows down the process of decision making in the organization. The participative democratic system 4 is described as an ideal one and remains in the realms of utopia. However, Likert System 4 holds out prospects of development of advanced forms of human organization. Conclusion. Likert was more of a problem solver than a theory builder. He was an perceptive observer of social and professional situations, which he addressed in his writing. He worked to free organizations from authoritarianism and the unnatural manipulation of human emotions in order to achieve rational problem solving in a more cooperative and friendly manner. His work instilled self-confidence, loyalty, and inventiveness in employees and managers. He is renowned for being a theorist who didn't set out to offer one, but who did so naturally and logically as a result of his incredibly quick understanding of interpersonal relationships, group dynamics, and human behavior. His quantitative and practical approaches to social problems and social measurements were a result of his natural talent for structures and measurements. Thank you all for attending the session.